Wow. Nightcap. Yay. We have an
NightCap.
introduction. I mean, we have an opening. We have an
Yes, we
intro.
do. A
Listen,
whole intro.
a whole intro, right?
Hmm.
Listen, everybody, this is going to be an amazing night.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
serious about tonight.
Excited.
I think tonight is going to change lives. And so right now, everybody share it, post it. Um, I see some numbers. So everybody jump on tonight. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
I'm showing it live on my phone. Okay. Listen, we are crazy excited. We're on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. So join us right now, and don't miss Nightcap. Um, so uh, right, right. Join us now. So
Now.
now, okay. So every time we see this beautiful, amazing, wonderful, incredible, gorgeous lady join us, Sharice, you know what tonight is, right?
Relationship night.
woo!
Relationship night.
Woo!
So I know, right? You she's more excited to see you than she's ever excited to see me, right? And so so we're excited. So we want to encourage everybody to share, everybody to encourage others to watch tonight. It's going to be amazing. Um, and so I kind of want to. Well, first of all, Sharice, how's your week been?
Um, I've had a great week. Busy, productive, and sane. I
That's
Okay.
had
good.
one day that was a little hiccup, but nothing that you know petty stuff God can handle.
Gotcha.
How about you, Bishop?
Wow, I've been I've been grinding. Sunday we had our drive up,
Right.
and it was just phenomenal. The only two people we were missing was Sharice and Madison. But everybody else came. Um,
Man, he
I
had to
mean,
put me
I
on
know that you
blast.
had, well,
Right.
but I know that you had to do your thing. You got to go make them. You got to go make them coins. Got to make them kizoids, right? But it was, it's been good. I had my final class session for the class that I teach at Virginia Union because I'm an adjunct professor, and
Listen.
I'm an adjunct professor, and so I know that's what you got to say it. You got to sit up, posture.
Hmm. Mm.
So anyway, beside that, so no, but it was good though. Pastor G, how's your week been?
It's been great. It has. It's been just a week of just gathering
Wow.
peace,
Mm.
reaching for that peace and getting it. So I'm grateful.
That's
Absolutely
good to
grateful.
hear. That's good to hear. I
Yes.
so we need everybody sharing, we need everybody inviting, we need
Yes.
everyone, all of you who are watching right now, because tonight's going to be significant. And if you are dating, if you are married, if you are engaged,
Mhm.
if you are doing any of that kind of stuff, or you just want to be married, you just want to be engaged, if you think you got a man and you and you and you have considered that you got a woman, we want you right now to go ahead and just kind
Lord,
of,
help us.
oh, I know, right? And just kind of jump on and join us because I promise you, it's a whole lot of positives. So
Mhm.
there was this handout, Sharice, that we use for marriage counseling. Um,
Yes.
and for pre-marriage counseling, and
Yeah.
it's entitled "The Fulfilling Marriage" or "The Fulfilling Relationship."
Mhm.
And so the and so I am dead serious about tonight because I think that relationship night is supposed to help you manage the assignment of being in covenant with someone else. I'm trying to sound profound, right? The
That's
word
good.
Mm.
um, but I think more than anything, it's supposed to stretch you in terms of your understanding of relationships. And I'll admit, Pastor G and I have just gotten better at relationships. To the
Good.
point that the stuff that could be like hideously big conflict issues really never get there. I mean, and I'll take a little credit for the fact that I'm better
You
at
are.
managing those moments, and she needs to take some credit in the fact that she's better in managing those moments.
Absolutely.
So there's this quote, and the quote is, "Falling in love is easy.
Hmm.
Mm.
Falling in love with the same person repeatedly is extraordinary." So falling in love is easy. Falling in love with the same person repeatedly is
Hmm.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you hear that comment. What does that say to you? What jumps out at you when you hear that quote?
Choice.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good.
Expound.
Um, I say choice because yes, falling in love is easy, but to fall in love with someone repeatedly over and over, you have to choose to do that. It is not as easy to do it, by happenstance because you're not going to like them every day. You're not going to want to be around them every day. You're going to disagree. But it is a choice to wake up every day, every 3 days, every 4 days, and decide to fall in love again, not just love, but to fall in love again with a person that is constantly growing, constantly changing, beginning to fulfill and walk into the calling and or purpose for their lives. And so, making a choice to love them in all of that, it's choice to fall in love every day with the same person all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes a lot of
Okay,
sense.
Pastor G. Pastor
Yeah,
G, yeah, go ahead, man.
that makes a lot of sense. Because think about it. When you fall in love with someone, everything is fresh, everything's new. And of course, you put your best foot forward. You show the best you. You want to be represented in the best light. So you on your A game. So then it's the fall in love. And whether we want to admit it or not, some of it is infatuation, whether you're infatuated with the looks or the personality or just whatever. But that, when that real stuff starts, when you start,
Mm-hmm.
you get comfortable and you kind of feel like, okay, we're off to a good start. And that real stuff start coming through, you know. You can be Prince Charming and you can be Cinderella for a moment. But when that real stuff come through, that's when you have to make those choices. Okay, wait a minute. All right. Okay, yeah, this was good in the beginning, but am I going to choose to love who I'm seeing now?
That's good.
So you are dead on it.
You know,
It's a
it,
choice.
It is.
what's kind of weird about about uh, about that, because I've never thought about. I mean, I think we've talked about it, but I don't think I've ever thought about it so simplistically. Because I think that a lot of us are just kind of a lot of us in relationships tend to tolerate to get to the point we think will fix them,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
right? So I feel like if I just kind of put up with this,
Yeah.
then eventually they're going to get better. And what
Wow.
I wake up and I discover is that not only do they get worse, but they get comfortable bad, being
Yeah.
bad at it, being being unhealthy. Not only, I mean, they kind of almost get good at it. Wait a minute, hold on, you got your hand raised. What are you talking about?
I have a question. I just got my hand up, so when you finish, you can come to me.
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
So, how do you then, I guess, I want, for a lack of, I don't know how to say this, but kind of hold them accountable to being better without tearing them down or nagging, for both men and women, because men have expectations for their spouse, women have expectations for their spouse or partner, whoever they're dating, or vice versa. But you want to hold them accountable without tearing them down. How do you do that?
I want to tackle that one. I think it's more choosing words and wisdom. And also it takes time. It takes time. You you have to establish a foundation, so that they know that you you're concerned and that you love them and you want what's best for them. So you can't start off, you can't have the criticizing moments from the giddy up, because it's gonna be like, whoa, But if I know you care about me, then it's easier for me to receive criticism or receive, advice after there's a foundation. Because I see now that we have some time in, and you choose your words with wisdom. Being it, we always talk about how it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. So part of it is how you say it, but I honestly think that's some of that comes with time, because I'm able to receive things from my husband now a lot better than in the past, because we have some time in, and I know that he loves me and he wants what's best for me, and he's not gonna ever intentionally hurt me. So I think it's like a time thing and a choose your words wisely thing.
And it's interesting. I think
Wow.
couple that with the fact that you've seen your partner make an effort. Because reality is that most of us go into relationships and we really don't know who this person is. And we really don't know what they're capable of doing to us if they're put in certain moments.
Wow.
And we're not sure if they are committed at the level that we are. I mean, we hope they are.
Right.
We believe they are. We believe what they say to us. So you only really begin to discover their level of commitment when you get into the crucible of building the relationship.
Right.
And then at the point that you get in the crucible of building the relationship, you now discover that this person has either the capacity to walk with me, or they are incapable of managing who I am.
Wow.
And so the challenge for us is to build the kind of relationship that you can have not only tough conversations, but you can have transformational conversations.
That's good.
Yeah.
I brought my notebook.
That part.
Hold the line.
That's what I was trying
She's
to say.
so stupid. She's talking some holding
You're
line.
writing it down. But that's what I was trying to say. What all that he just said, that's what I was trying to say.
So, Lady G,
Ma'am.
having your husband is Bishop John Gunn.
That don't mean all that much. I promise you it don't mean that much.
And come with him, with who he is, the influence that he has, he is authoritative. He can go into beast mode because that's Bishop. Like when he go, he grinds. How do you manage a person, and Bishop, maybe you can answer this too, because First Lady has a grind that she has. How do you manage his grind and the personalities that come with the grind. Like you have Bishop John Guns, and then you may know him as John, affectionately as John.
Right.
And, or you may, some know him as, JEG Ministry. So there's multiple people. I won't, because he doesn't have multiple personalities, but you're dealing with
I might.
different scopes of him as a successful man. How do you manage that? Because some days I'm sure you don't know what you're going to get based on where he is and where he's moving and how God is shifting him.
Yeah.
So my God, you have to be a strong woman. Like help us, because there are some women such as myself that desire that I understand that my mate may have those characteristics, and managing those will determine if we can handle it or we can't. And most women want a man that can lead, but we don't necessarily know how to manage that.
Right.
So you have it. So what do you do?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it's discernment and prayer. And I will say this, my husband does a really good job of taking off the hats and putting on the proper hat. And I've learned how to mimic that. I'm his executive assistant. So that's a whole different role than being the wife.
Right.
And trying to step into that and follow, especially in the pandemic, because most of the stuff we're doing, we're right here in the house. So it's like, okay, wait, am I wife right now, or am I sister right now, or wait, what am I doing? But really, it's just discernment. It is. It's kind of mimicking his step and discerning where he is. There are times where he's upset or he's thinking on, say, a project that's not going, the way he expected, and there's some frustration there. I have to be discerning enough to realize that has nothing to do with my house, nothing to do with us, but it is in the moment. So honestly, it's just okay, if he moves left, I move left. He moves right, I move right. And if I can't figure it out, I fall back till I figure it out.
Right.
I'm just like, I'm gonna go on dark and just like not be here tonight.
No, that's really good, Bishop.
No, I mean, truthfully, I'll be
how you change your hats. I mean, you do that really well.
Because Bishop, a lot of men don't know how to change hats.
That's true.
And they destroy homes.
Yeah. And
they tear down their wives. But you've mastered that. You've learned how.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. It is important to me. Relationships is math. 1 times 1 equals 1.
Wow.
But 1 times 0 equals 0. And if you are a man or a woman who needs your spouse to be inferior, then basically you set yourself up to be disappointed when they don't arrive at the place that you need them to, or they don't rise in the moment you need them to rise up. Because at some point you want your spouse to rise up and be equal to the moment that your relationship is in, that your life is in. By nature, I want my wife to feel affectionately affirmed. By nature, I don't want her to wake up and not feel like I don't value who she is. That's my nature. But that's my nature with everybody I relate to. I want everybody to be successful at what they're created to do. I get frustrated when people don't give their best effort. I get frustrated when I know someone could be greater or better at something and they don't even make the effort. So of course I get frustrated if it's my wife, or I get frustrated if I'm the one who creates creates the condition where my wife doesn't feel like she's able to effectively do what she's created to do. So for me, relationships are about discerning, and it's so interesting. My wife uses that word a lot. Relationships are about discerning what your spouse's needs are. I think it's the most selfish thing for your spouse to tell you what their needs are, and then you purposefully mishandle knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because most of us fail to communicate openly. And when a relationship really starts to go bad, the first thing you do is you pull back from communicating what your needs are.
That's good.
And truthfully, that's where sometimes affairs occur, because you go to work or you meet somebody and they seem to be interested. And the person you're at home with seems to only be, it seems to not really care about what's going on. So it's always helpful for me when my wife asks me, so it being in the house with me, so how is your class today? You know, I mean, because like today, you know, because I'm an adjunct professor, today was my final class session. And so, you know, then my wife asked me, so how was the class today? Like last week, it was interesting. I just failed miserably the first session, the first class session. Sure as it was horrible. I was on Zoom. I couldn't get up my presentation, you know, because, you know, I now create PowerPoints, you know. So I couldn't get up my PowerPoint, and it was terrible. And then the Zoom shut down, and then I set up the Zoom myself. I set it up, right? And she asked me, "Are you sure that you set it up so that it's for the 4 hours?" I said, "No, I'm good. I set it up, but it was on my basic plan, and it was only for 45 minutes. So it says 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes left. I'm scrambling to get 19 people onto another Zoom. I'm just failing. It was a terrible day. So Ray helped me the second week. But the third week, my wife, whose sleep pattern is like the club, she goes to bed at 4 a.m., right? I fall asleep. I don't know when she falls asleep these nights. And I wake up, and she'll still be sitting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, just sitting there, right? Because this thing is thrown off our sleep pattern. I know she didn't go to bed early. And she gets up that morning.
Wow.
And she helps me with the class. But here's the interesting thing. The class starts, and she's gotten me up and running, and I've kind of gotten a hold of it. And she goes to the couch, which is less than 10, 15 feet away. And she lays there on the couch and sits there the whole class time, just in case I needed her.
Wow.
So for me, it wasn't her technical assistance. It was her affirming presence that, yo, dude, I saw you lament.
Murdered murdered the first class.
I murdered it, right? I saw you, and Ray can't help you today. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help your sorry behind, because one, I don't want to hear you walking around this house like a miserable failure as an adjunct professor, right? So interestingly enough, don't tell me you love somebody and they've got to always play your game.
Wow.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to play theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Wow. This is challenging, because I think most people want great relationships, but they don't want great investment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with you. I think that how do you get to a place where because in a relationship you are making an investment, and say you don't start seeing a return on your investment initially, you know, but you know, a part of you, you know, you're called to it. How do you, I guess, you know, kind of stay in there How long? And I guess a better question is, how long do you wait before you shift if you realize there's no return on your investment?
You said no return?
Wow.
No,
Wow.
a little to no return.
Wow.
So I'll give them some credit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's tough because
Yeah.
there has to be some it has to be reciprocated. It has to be, I have to at least know that you're trying, even if you're not making it to, yeah. 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 There has to be I mean, I don't, and I know, I mean, it happens all the time, and you kind of, you fall in love with the possibilities,
Yes.
And you're like, okay, it's gonna get better. They're a good person. They do this, they do that, eventually. But when does that eventually come? So really, it's you. Ooh, you gotta show some type of commitment to being better, even if you're not there yet. You gotta show some commitment to being better.
And it's interesting because I think when I go back and I look at our relationship, both of us needed each other. We just were in the initial stages, we were unsure as to how that looked.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that most people who start a relationship, they start a relationship with the end in mind. They're just not real good at the middle.
Mm.
And the middle is when the work of stability occurs. The middle is when you start discovering flaws, but you still feel yoked and committed to them. The middle is when you start to trust them, and when you start to trust them and you no longer have permission to micromanage them.
Wow.
You know, um, when Pastor G and I hit a certain stage in our relationship, we found ourselves having to adjust,
That's the
which
word.
which and babe, and babe, what's our marital philosophy? What's our philosophy? What's our mantra? What's our theme? What?
No ego.
No ego.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who cares who wins the fight?
Yeah.
If what?
Yeah. Who's taking score? Who cares who wins the fight?
Yeah.
You might win the argument, but you're losing the relationship. You're losing
That's
your
good.
spouse. So
Yeah, and
there is
and
no.
and yeah, it's no ego. And I wanted to jump in here because 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 Pastor G and I know what it feels like in this pandemic to have to make big decisions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I still get calls to travel, and sometimes it's really, really hard to say no or to say I can't. And so the other day we had this major breakthrough in terms of how we're going to handle me being invited to travel,
Yeah.
because I feel called to do that still, but the pandemic doesn't allow. And we have some very real reasons why I have to make certain decisions and we have to make certain decisions. So my wife met me somewhere. She says, okay, I know this is a part of who you are. So if you do this, then we got to do this. And then she makes this interesting statement to me. She says, and you've got to know that the reason I'm going to do this is so we will be safe.
Yeah.
At that moment, if I'm still selfishly needing to do something, then she's communicated what her need is. Her need transcends mine.
Wow.
because her need is bigger. Her need is bigger. And it's interesting. I had that moment where I discovered her need was bigger. And in a relationship, you got to know when your spouse's need is bigger than yours. It doesn't mean your need isn't important.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
It just means in this season, their need is different. And immediately when we make this decision, I do this Zoom. I do a Zoom.
Mhm.
And I don't even talk about it. So it was like God was saying, I'm trying to confirm for you that you didn't even leave your house. You didn't even leave this chair. You didn't leave this spot.
Right. That
And
part.
I just blessed your family.
Wow.
Tremendously.
Like bigger than if I had gotten in the car and drove away to go do
Right.
something.
Right.
I just blessed y'all. I just put something in your hand that looked like you wasn't in the pandemic.
Right.
Wow.
So I think God tested me to see if I loved her enough to not put her in a place of stress, even while she was making adjustments to try to meet my need.
Wow. What is, I think when you talk
That
about
just messed me up.
adjustment,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
how do
sorry.
you, oh, that's okay. What's the difference between adjusting and changing? Because I think oftentimes, and I can speak to when I was married, the term that we would use all the time is you're trying to change me.
Hmm.
But an adjustment is not necessarily a change, and a change is not necessarily an adjustment. But I think millennials, we look at adjustments as change because they're uncomfortable. You know, they make us sometimes look at something in us that we need to work on, and we've worked so hard to become who we are. We don't want anybody except me for me. Don't make me adjust. Don't make me change. So, like, I think, can you explain to us what's the difference between a change and an adjustment, or do they work hand in hand?
I think they work hand in
Absolutely.
hand.
Huh?
Yeah. I think it's tomato.
I do
You know,
too.
um,
Yeah.
when dealing with relationships, because
Yeah.
I think change is just maybe a dirty word because, like you said, nobody wants to feel like somebody's changing them or making them be somebody they're not. And I think adjustment is an easier word to swallow, but it's still one and the same.
And what's really interesting, if you're in a relationship with someone you're not willing to change for, then you're not in a relationship. You're in an arrangement.
Wow.
Mm.
Because ultimately you're going to change being with somebody.
Yeah.
You are. You're going to change being with them because they're changing. You're going to force you to change. Oh,
And you
okay.
know what,
Listen. I give you
Bishop?
perfect. Huh?
And we talk about that. That's creative compatibility.
That's creative
Wow.
compatibility.
Mhm.
Yeah. And really, I got that term from my brother.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to choose to like what they like, even if you don't like what they like. And okay, all right. 12, 13 years ago, 13 years ago,
Mhm.
Sanjanique Little, would you have been sitting? Did you imagine you would be sitting on StreamYard at 10 o'clock at night
No,
talking about relationships?
not at all.
Not at all.
Mm.
Whose idea was your marriage matters?
Yours.
Mine.
Hmm.
But who is my partner in your marriage matters?
I am,
Absolutely. Why?
because I'm your partner in life. So I'm your partner in your marriage matters.
Most of us are too egotistical and territorial to be functionally happy with another human being.
Wow.
Because being happy with another human being means you got to not see stuff as a negative.
Yeah.
Changing, when you see change as a negative, then you're going to be miserable with that person because they are going to require that you change. I have required that Sanjanique change, and Sanjanique has required that John change. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. John could not stay who he was 12 years ago and be with Sanjanique because John was not good for Sanjanique 12 years ago. John is better for Sanjanique now because John had to make some changes. So guess what? John doesn't fly off at the handle, and John doesn't get angry as quickly as John used to. John has learned that to protect who he loves, you have to be willing to make changes. And some changes you make quickly and some you make over time. But you know that if this relationship is going to be healthy, I can't stay John. I have to be willing to be Johnanique.
That's good.
Yeah.
And she's got to be willing to be Johnanique too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta merge each other. We gotta merge into a place that people see us as uniquely speaking to each other's needs.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a very dismissive personality, especially when something is confrontational. I'm just gonna go my way, and I'm not gonna have a conversation about it. But
help me, Lord.
I had to realize that my husband he's that's what he does. He communicates. So so me shutting down and not wanting to talk about it and just dismissing him and going about my way, I saw the damage that it did to him and our relationship. So I had to learn how to not have those moments and at least be able to explain where I am. Even if I still need time, I had to learn how to adjust who I was to improve our relationship. And then him wanting to talk right then, and it was to a point where because I was shutting down, he became more aggressive with it, which caused me to shout back even more. So we had to come together and figure out, okay, how do we do this? How do we communicate? How do we make sure that we're both in a good place, even though we're disagreeing? And that's really hard to do. But I had to adjust who I was. He had to adjust who he was. So I like
and
that.
I'm a shutdowner.
You're a shutdowner? Yeah, that was me, a shutdowner.
Yeah.
And it's not really good in a relationship.
It's not.
Yeah, to me, that was now I did it because my excuse was, let's put it that way, because I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt you. And I don't want to say anything in the moment. So I'm just going to shut up. But to him, it was just, it was like you're dismissing me. You're not concerned about how I feel and what I need to hear right now and what I need to talk about. But I call myself saving his feelings. No, that was me just get out of my face, So I don't want to talk about it.
Hold on, back. But here's the funniest thing, though. But she would communicate through texts and emails.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do that. I respond to your text.
So she would send me all these long emails. And see, for me, the passive aggressive nature of using an email to communicate when you've been given an opportunity to talk means that you're an emotional coward.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it still was with a text
message. I would call it that.
Right. Well, is that what you call me? No.
That's what I called you. That's what I used to call you. No, I don't call you that now, but that's what I used to call you.
But no,
emotional
think about
coward.
it, though. If I'm texting and emailing, I have the opportunity to erase and back up. And not
think about it and put it down. Yeah.
Well, whenever you erased, Jesus.
So,
but what
yeah.
But what was so interesting, but what's so interesting about it is that at that moment, the person who has to read the text or the email is now forced into your world of communication, which now means that they're not at their strength either.
Right. It's
Because
bad.
I'm not good at responding to you in emails and text. That's why for my staff and for anybody else, sending me emails, what you're gonna get is one word, okay.
Right.
Or I got it, or I understand. Because for me, and so this is where change occurs.
Wow.
My wife stopped doing that as her primary means, and she started talking to me. Even if she had a moment where she got frustrated and raised her voice, at least she made the effort. And that's all I could ask for. Yeah. And then I became a person who wasn't so needy of the conversation. And I still have moments whereby I push her. And sometimes the push is not good. It's not. And but I've gotten to a point where
Amen.
I'm better at not pushing her.
Yeah.
Amen.
And so and I know when to back up and adjust the tone of the conversation so that we can keep talking. Okay, I just said something.
That's good.
I just said something profound. Most of us keep driving the conversation until the conversation becomes, no way can we keep talking. I've learned over the years with this woman that I got to make adjustments so that we can keep talking. Because we keep talking, we can at least arrive somewhere. But if we stop talking, then my head, then my thoughts start spinning, and then she goes off into her own world, and we both end up going, ugh. But we're so good at coming back because that's eventually, because like one time we had this slight disagreement recently, right? About something. I can't remember what it was. But whatever it was.
Look, anyway, like neither one of y'all can remember what it was because she's like, what you talking about?
So we had this moment.
I'm looking at comments too. We have a lot of shutdowners on here.
Yeah, I know. Lord, right now, deliver the shutdowners. So we had this moment, and she gets kind of hot with me. She leaves the car, and I go off to do something else. And I can't remember what it was. But it was funny though. She says to me when I come back in the house, she says, "Just give me time." Well, in previous seasons, that meant a negative. With her, I've redefined give me time.
Yeah.
So as hard as it is, I gave her time. And so our family is amazing at communicating with each other. We got 2 girls upstairs and one across town and another one where the other 2 cross town, and we text all day. It's nothing for G Squad to text all day. So somebody says something in the text like, Alexis may send something silly about the boys or something. And then Deja immediately responds, Taylor, we might as well. The only way we get a response from Taylor is walk upstairs to her room, right? And put the phone in her hand and say, type this. So what happened was my wife does something real interesting. She says something, and then she says, I'm not speaking to your daddy. The moment she puts in the group text to the kids, I'm not speaking to your daddy, our kids go, But in that moment, I said, oh, hell, she over it. She gets past it. And it was interesting. 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 9 years ago.
Wow.
That woman didn't exist. But she's grown so much in managing me till that woman now exists. Yeah. And the man who hasn't always been great at managing conflict is now in a safer place.
That's good.
That's what you create for your partner, a safe place to grow up.
Wow. Yeah. So because Bishop is a communicator, it's safe to say that he's the dominant one in the conversation.
Oh, and I'm a lecturer.
Yeah.
Right. So you have your 1, 2, 3, 4 points in the conversation.
What?
Every conversation.
Sub point, bullet point. And
In
Lady
how many
G was like,
conversations?
what?
Every.
Lady G was like, I got 2 points, and that's it. Now you can keep your
No.
7 points. I got 2.
No, baby, you get a 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my God, I am laughing because that is so true. I am the dominant combo. I am.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God, that is hilarious. That's so true.
you manage that comeback. You know, you manage to come back from what. Let me ask you this: at what point did you start receiving what he said and listening to his heart, and not becoming offended by how he said it?
Oh. I think it was when. Okay, you know what? You can know a person's heart and still get offended.
Wow.
That's good.
That's in you.
Mm.
That's within you. Because I knew before I married him his heart, because I wouldn't have married him. But I still got offended last week. So it's not that
Wow.
I don't know his heart for me. I know this man loves me beyond words, just as much as I love him. But there are times, and there are going to be times where he says something, or I say something, or we do something, and we're not happy about it, or we're offended, or we're hurt by it. But that's when you have to ask yourself the question, okay, so what about this particular thing puts me in this place? And then the key is communication, because just because I said it a certain way does not mean that's how he heard it. And vice versa. So it's just communication. It is communication. Because if you're in a relationship, I don't know anybody who wants to be in a relationship and they don't think the other person cares about them.
I do need to say this. Like, listening to you talk right now, I so love you. I listening to you talk right now. Girl, you can get my check this week. What you want? You want my check?
I'll let you know.
Get that check first, man.
I'll let you know.
You get all the money you want for whatever you want to do. You know, and we know what you want to do. Okay.
So silly.
It's interesting. What's amazing about tonight. Here's what's amazing about tonight. What's amazing about tonight is that everybody's listening to two people who are figuring it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Even while we're talking to you, we're getting better. Mm-hmm. And I think the challenge that couples have is they don't get better, they get defensive. One day, one of us is going to wake up and the other's not going to be there. And the question is going to be, are we going to have more regrets or are we going to have more memories?
That's good.
Are we going to be able to say, man, I was married to a really, really amazing person? Or are we going to say, God, thank you, they're gone. Now I can see if I can live.
Wow.
And it's weird because divorce is a form of death.
It is. Absolutely.
I mean, all three of us know that. It's a form of death. And most people who go through any kind of death doesn't grieve well. And so when God gives you a second chance at something, you can't do it the way you did it the first time.
You cannot.
I mean, you literally have to be willing to do it differently. And that means you got to make adjustments. You got to change. You got to conform. I mean, you got to decide. I mean, a good example. Here's an interesting thing. My family right now is going through an eating metamorphosis, right? And they're eating differently. I mean, they're eating differently. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at the eating differently part. I'm not. I'm terrible at it. And I'm probably the one in the house that needs to eat differently, right?
That what?
That need to eat differently. I'll admit it.
Okay.
Jeffrey Dennis is watching, babe. Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
Catherine Graham. Wow. Okay. One of the mothers of the church is up. She up late listening.
Wow.
Right?
Hey, mother.
She's in her 80s. God bless you, mother.
Hey, mother.
But it's interesting. My wife has figured out how to let me exist while still telling me the truth.
Wow.
And it's tough because I think that, because truthfully, just very transparently, and we got 9 minutes, men tend to feel like women are always trying to mother them and tell them what to do. And y'all
And
do.
we usually are.
And
We
you
usually are.
and you know what? And the fact you admit it makes me feel better. Yeah. As long as you say, Negro, I'm trying to help your trifling behind. Because you keep wiping your eyes and you're infecting them. So I'm trying to help you so you can see. I'm trying to help you so you don't smell bad. I'm trying to, women are always trying to help men. And men are always trying to prove to the woman, I don't need your help.
I don't need your help. But why though? Why do men do that?
Because y'all are always telling us what to do, and we got egos, and our egos get in the way because we got a mother. We didn't marry you to be our mother, but sometimes men need a mother. And I hate to say it, but women have this need. And we need, but here's what's funny. When you don't do it, we get pissed at you because we like, why did you tell me that?
Why you tell me?
And you be like, well, I tried to tell you, but you don't want to listen. So then you got to deal with, I told you so. So you know what? I'll just do it on my own. But you know what? In the end, when your marriage finally becomes settled, your ego is set to the side and you say to each other, I need you to help me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like my wife keeps trying to get fired as my assistant. She does. And sometimes I think she does stuff on purpose, right? I think she's trying to get fired. I think she's trying to get fired. I don't care, Cherise. I think she's trying to get fired as my assistant. I'm not going to fire her, though. She will not be fired. She is permanently stuck. There's 2 reasons why. The most obvious reason is she's got my interest at heart at a level nobody does.
I do.
Right.
And it's just amazing when you live in my world to know that you got at least one person who literally is so about making sure you're successful and you're okay. But the other reason is because I'm not built to have a disconnected wife from the assignment of my life. I need a partner. I need a woman who I can talk to about what I'm dealing with. Even if there are times that she looks at me like, I really don't want to talk about this today. Or, okay, can we talk about something else? I need somebody who I know is all in with me.
Yeah.
But Bishop, you let her in.
I did let her in. I made it a requirement.
Yeah.
I made it a requirement. There is no marriage this time around.
Was set early on.
Very early on. Yeah. Very early on. I asked her a very honest question. What has God called you to do? Mm-hmm. And that lined up with what I needed a woman in my life to do. I got friends whose attitude is, I don't want my wife in my church ministry business. That's a lie. I want you ain't got to be co-pastor, but you got to be co-John.
Yeah.
And I got to be co-Sanjanique.
Yeah.
It ain't fun doing vision when your house ain't in agreement.
That's good.
Whatever that vision is, whether it's a business, whether it's I mean like my wife is called to write a book. My assignment is to push her to do it. And to do everything in my power to help her become that.
Sharice said, I don't mean to cut you off, But
No,
Sharice
please.
made a very good comment, very important comment. You let me in and you made it very clear. So there was no fighting for me to get into your space. And even everyone around you knew what the expectation was. So
Absolutely.
that, I mean, really that was on you. So there was no me trying to find my way into your life, figure out this, figure out that, know this secret, or it was, everything was laid out. And that has to be done by each person.
And you have to empower them to feel like they're not a visitor in your life.
Right. Right.
That's good.
They can't be a visitor, and they can't feel like they're an armed robber that is violently invading your space to
Yeah.
get your attention.
Yeah.
My wife is needed. I can't do me and she not be on my team as not as my assistant coach, but as my co-head coach. That's why I'm anal about wanting to be in the life of my children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that dad who wants to be outside. You know, I know some people have philosophies about the role of the father in the life of the girls. My wife would tell you, I want to be actively involved in the life of our girls, because for me, she doesn't need to carry all of the weight of managing the girls. If that's the case, then she's a single parent with a living roommate.
Wow.
No, we co-everything. She
Yeah.
knows where every dollar is. She has access to everything that I do. Every time I get a check, I call her and I tell her this is what it was. And if I ever forgot to send her a text, she would text me and say, so what was it? And to me, it wasn't even about the money. It was
Yeah.
about the fact that she understood that her place in my life is partnership,
Yeah.
and not she's not my girl after 11. She's my partner at 6 in the morning to the end of the day.
That's
And if
good.
and if you're in a relationship and y'all haven't worked out that, then you all have nothing to look forward to, because your future is what your present is.
Mm.
Okay. We got 2 minutes.
Mm.
Sharice, you okay?
I'm okay. This is amazing. I look forward to second Wednesdays because I
Yay.
have questions, and I think that a lot of millennials, we have questions. We don't do relationships well. We don't do relationships well with the opposite sex. We don't do relationship well in friendships and
Yeah.
connections and networks. We just don't do them well because we have this I complex. You know, I can do it by myself, and this I don't do people complex. Not understanding that relationships are very valuable in in how you succeed in life. Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your friend, whether everything relational. Jesus was relational. It's relational. It's relationship. And we struggle with understanding some of the core things that you all talked about: the adjustment, the tone adjustment, the understanding, the having the not just the capacity but the desire. Because I mean, inevitably, you may have the desire but not the capacity, or you may have the capacity but not the desire.
Yeah.
So, and the discernment, all of those things, we struggle with those core things that you all talked about. So tonight was just amazing. And I hope the people that are listening, because the comments were going crazy, that people got what they needed. If
Yeah.
not a little bit, if not a whole lot, a little bit of it. I know I got a whole lot. So.
Well, I want to close with this, babe. Go ahead, and we normally end at 10. We try to do it within an hour, but we're going to take 5 extra minutes tonight, because, and here's why: because I sense people who are watching. There are a lot of people who want to do better, and a lot of millennials, a lot of young adults. Our generation failed you because we didn't give you quality models.
Mm-hmm.
And television shows you nothing but relationships that swap in and out. You know, I like the show Sisters, but they all about to get a new man. You know, they all about to get a new man. It's terrible. They all gonna get a new man within the next couple of segments.
Yeah.
And so longevity, but I grew up watching somebody married 69 years.
Wow.
And I grew up watching my mom and my dad cover each other.
Yeah.
My dad didn't know how to read. And my mom taught him how to read so he could preach his first sermon. The man my dad became as a preacher because of the woman he married. And then when my mom was a double amputee, my dad would get up at 2:00 in the morning, and a 200-pound woman dead weight, he would horse her and put her in a wheelchair and put her in bed.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget on the date of my mom's funeral, and the house is packed, and everybody's sitting in the house, and everybody's, everybody. My dad goes in the bedroom, locks the door, goes to sleep. My brother knocks on the door, walks in, and says, "Hey, Dad, you okay?" My dad said, "I'm resting because my work is done."
Mm.
He stayed faithful to this woman. And relationships, and honestly, most millennials are capable of having great relationships. What you're lacking is the character of sacrifice.
Now that's good.
It's the character of sacrifice. It's really about sacrificing. It's about not getting your way. I am a highly successful Black man in what I do. God has offered me, God's given me amazing doors, and even before I married her, I was preaching for Jake's and preaching Hampton. But all of those great platforms, I still went to a place of loneliness. Now, if I preach at a storefront but go home to her, it's bigger than the Potter's house.
Jesus.
Because once the door closes,
Whew.
the real man comes out.
Yeah.
And for millennials who think you're successful alone, you are living the illusion because you were not built to be alone. The problem is you gotta be willing to be with somebody. And sometimes that means you gotta
sacrifice.
You gotta sacrifice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta sacrifice. Yeah. This woman has given up so much to be with me. She's given up so much to be with me. I'm not dumb to believe that I've made her life better. I think I've helped, but she's given up so much to be with me. And here's what's amazing. And I close with this. If you claim you know Jesus, but you don't know his sacrifice, then you ain't really Christian. He gave up everything to save you. So why do you think that you can be in a relationship with somebody and give up nothing? You're going to have to walk away from tendencies and bad behavior and selfish. You're going to have to walk away from an argument and not think you lost it because you didn't get the last word in. You don't need the last word. You need the last kiss. I don't want to ever make her mad enough that she never wants to kiss me again. So I'll shut it up just to get that kiss. Because that means more to me than winning the argument.
Yeah.
So all y'all stop winning arguments.
Right.
And start winning moments. Start winning moments. This has been NightCap. I see Akeem is on. Akeem, you're here next week. I think I may take the week off. And I think I may take the week off and just let you and Akeem have it. And yeah, that's what I would do. So Akeem, you're here next week, colored man. All right, you're here next week. Don't act new. You're here next week. I may just take it off and just let y'all have at it. He's waving top. Hey, Dr. Sharice, y'all too, boy. I tell you, I love it. Thank you all. Every second Tuesday, the most beautiful woman in the world to me is gonna be with us, and I wouldn't trade her. Yeah, I wouldn't trade her. I wouldn't trade her. If God told me to listen, I was willing to walk away from everything to be with her.
Wow.
And whatever everything is, I was going to walk away from everything to be with her.
Wow.
I was going to be working at McDonald's saying, do you want a large fry or small fry? They could be like,
Do you want salt on those fries or no salt?
the only thing I wasn't going to sacrifice was Alexis, and God gave us permission for that to work.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was willing to sacrifice it all. Because I figured if I could be happily in love, then I could recapture anything else. So, Akeem, you're here next week. I love you guys. Sharice, breathe. Breathe, Sharice.
Yeah. It's going to be all right.
It'll be all right,
gonna be
girl.
all right.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank y'all
Pastor,
for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Love
you
you
for having me.
guys.
I enjoy spending this time with you guys. So thank you.
Listen, this your night. Every second Wednesday.
Every second Wednesday. I'm so happy when you know. I'm so happy.
You get
I just have questions. I'd be so happy.
Yeah,
I
that
have
makes
my
me
note.
feel
I
good.
have my notebook, my
Look
questions.
at you.
Listen, we love you guys. Thank y'all for giving us 6 minutes
Yes.
tonight. And we love you guys. Sharice, you got the last word.
Tune in next week. It's me and Dr. Walker. And if you guys were on last month, third Wednesday, he set it off.
Yes.
So
Yes, he did.
tune in for I'm sure what's going to be a great episode with him. Yes.
Can't
Please.
wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We love you guys.
Love
See
you.
y'all next week.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
NightCap.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Take care, y'all.
Bye, guys.